We're winning big, big, big in the Republican Party for the nomination like nobody's ever seen before. Let's see, there it is, Trump at 71, Ron DeSanctimonious at 10%.
We're now in the one strong relationship between the former president and DeSantis from CNN's Randy Kaye.
I'm thrilled to introduce the next governor of Florida, a great gentleman, Ron DeSantis.
When Ron DeSantis first ran for governor of Florida and was locked in a tough GOP primary, it was Donald Trump who gave him a boost.
I endorsed Ron, and after I endorsed him, he took off like a rocket ship.
After that endorsement, DeSantis really leaned in to Trump's support.
Build the wall.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
DeSantis went on to win that 2018 primary by 20 points.
I'd like to thank our president for standing by me.
Their alliance was at times very public. DeSantis visited Trump at the White House and Mar-a-Lago. In April last year, Trump even suggested DeSantis could be his running mate in 2024. Still, somewhere along the way, their relationship seemed to sour. And now, with Trump apparently accelerating his plan for another presidential run, two people who recently spoke to him told CNN the former president has complained about DeSantis, indicating he was ungrateful. Trump still believes he's responsible for DeSantis being elected governor here in Florida in 2018. At the core of Trump's ire seems to be DeSantis's growing popularity and his refusal since last year to say he won't run against Trump. He also was irked by a DeSantis robocall endorsing a Republican Senate candidate in Colorado who vowed to actively campaign against another Trump presidential run.
Hello, this is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. America needs strong leadership, and desperately. That's why I'm endorsing Joe O'Dea for U.S. Senate.
Trump called the endorsement a big mistake on his Truth Social platform. 3 days later, Trump announced plans to rally in Florida with Senator Marco Rubio. A source told CNN DeSantis was not invited. There was also this moment at DeSantis' debate with his Democratic opponent, Charlie Crist.
Yes or no, Ron? Will you serve a full 4-year term if you're reelected governor of Florida? It's not a tough question. It's a fair question. He won't tell you.
DeSantis sidestepped that question about his potential 2024 ambitions. Trump then reposted a video in which former Fox News host Megyn Kelly said this.
You really think the hardcore MAGA is going to abandon Trump or DeSantis? They're not.
Still, DeSantis has made inroads with some of the wealthiest Republican donors who also helped finance Trump's campaigns. The Florida governor also has become a regular on Fox, where he was asked about a possible White House run in June.
If he runs, do you run? How do you make that decision?
Nice try, man. We're here talking, having fun here, so it's all good.
Randy Kaye, CNN, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Perspective, CNN political analyst Maggie Haberman, a senior political correspondent for the New York Times and author of the new best-selling book, a great book, Confidence Man, The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America. And once again, CNN political commentator Alyssa Farah Griffin, who served as director for strategic communications under the former president. Maggie, you wrote in your new book that the former president has kind of been privately calling DeSantis a variety of nicknames or names for months. Do you think he was speaking off the cuff here, or he'd thought this out? I think this may have been a Roger Stone reference.
This had been workshopped over the last couple of weeks by Trump because it worked. And he tests these things. Alyssa worked in that White House; she knows how this works. He had been trying this out on people over the last couple of weeks, and Roger Stone actually posted on Truth Social using this nickname. I think it was like 9 days ago. So I mean, we can do the math from there on how contemporary, how extemporaneous this was and how out of nowhere this was. But Trump has been thinking about DeSantis for a very long time, and I think he felt the need to lob some shot ahead of Tuesday because DeSantis, if the polling is right, is going to win handily in his reelection bid. And Trump wants to keep people in the Republican Party and in the MAGA world from gravitating toward DeSantis. That's why he did it.
Let's see, Randy's report. You heard about their relationship. Was it completely transactional always?
For the most part, and she's right, by the way, that DeSantis largely does owe his governorship to former President Trump. Most Floridians thought Adam Putnam was he was kind of the establishment choice for governor. The Trump boost brought DeSantis to where he was. He was able to win. I've known him since he was in the House, and while a very smart man, highly educated, he was kind of a backbench House member who seemed like a long shot to be governor, but with the Trump boost was able to get elected. And there is a sense, I'm actually with Megyn Kelly on this, like within Republican circles, elected Republicans would love it to be candidate Ron DeSantis. He's, Trump with not as much of the bluster, less drama, more serious, but the MAGA base is always going to be with Trump. I mean, that it's just the notion that they would go with him when so many of them feel like Trump was denied the last election, which of course he wasn't, but they think it was stolen from him. So I expected this was going to come at some time. I think the hits are going to keep coming from Mar-a-Lago against the governor. And I don't think that, some pushback from elected Republicans is going to do much to stop it.
Agreed.
Maggie, you agree with that?
I do agree with that. And I also think another thing we don't know about Ron DeSantis, for all of the wish casting from other elected Republicans who don't like Trump, a lot of them senators, or from the donor class, which really does not like Trump at this point, is we don't know how DeSantis is going to do on a national stage. Right. There's just no clue about it so far. And he has had some really surprising, I wouldn't call them stumbles, but they've been kind of cringeworthy moments. That ad that he put out with him in a fighter jet and the jacket, and there are things that he has taken that novice candidates do on the national stage that look strange. And we'll see how he does after Tuesday, but it's not a sure bet that he's going to be able to take Trump on. And he's really the only person who at the moment is seen as existing in Trump's lane. Trump is willing to do and say things that no other candidate is willing to say, and I'm not sure DeSantis is either.
Right, you're never going to out-Trump Trump. Right. DeSantis is going to go about as far as you can, but he still has a backstop and I think has a moral compass that keeps him from going too far. And at the end of the day, to Maggie's point, there's a lot to like about DeSantis if you're a Republican, but there's a lot of unknowns. He does not have a sophisticated political operation the way that other potential candidates do. I would argue Mike Pence has a much more sophisticated political operation, and he's known for being very weak on retail politics, which has always been a big part of running. The only person who can get away with not being good at that is Trump, because he's got 100% name ID. He's a massive celebrity. So I think he's overhyped. I think he's peaking very early, and the hits are going to keep coming.
It was interesting, though, that Trump didn't, continue with the name calling at the Florida rally.
Well, I think that he was aware that was a bridge too far. I think that going into the state at a rally that he decided to hold without DeSantis being invited, Trump's folks say, well, DeSantis didn't ask, but to go into the state and insult the guy and give the CRISP team something to use that they can put on video in a different way, as opposed to Trump just saying at a rally, I think even Trump realizes that's a rail he shouldn't touch.
Do you think he really wants to be president again? I mean, does he want to, or is it just wanting to be part of the conversation and the focus of attention and not being out of the loop?
And by the way, I think he didn't want to get booed in Florida, and I think there's a chance that he would get some boos.
That's a really good point.
I'm not sure that he misses governing. I'm not sure he misses holding cabinet meetings other than the top of them when people praise him. But I do think as the legal walls close in around him, he thinks it's the best hedge to protect himself against potential legal vulnerability.
I actually think he does miss being president. I don't think he misses governing, and I think that there were days where it was questionable how much governing he was doing at all. But I do think he misses the power of the office, and I think that a next term would be so driven by spite that that's what he's looking for. If anything, unlike 2016, when I think he didn't really want to be president, but he did want to win, I think it's a bit of the reverse now. But I agree that he needs the infrastructure that he thinks the campaign gives him against these investigations. That's absolutely true.
Maggie Haberman, Alyssa Farr-Griffin, fascinating. Appreciate it.